this is Monique. Let's do one more project. This time I crocheted the edge on a baby blanket and then put a monogram on it. So sweet. So I started off by serging the edge. It wasn't necessary to prevent it from raveling, but because the fleece is kind of stretchy, I wanted to help stabilize the edges before I started crocheting on them. Did you see that? I didn't pick up my scissors, I just used the blade on the serger to cut it at the corner. Now you will go back and cut it again to make it neat later, but while you're working, that's fine. Now I want to hem the edge because this is for a place to add the crochet. So I'm just folding over twice, making a regular hem, but I'm using a zigzag stitch, and I'll use that stitch to attach a base row for my crochet. Here at the corner, I want it to be mitered corner, so I folded it diagonally and continued rolling that top edge that I was. Then I rolled in the side before I got to it. So here's a different view. Rolled it in, and then when I got to the corner, then I picked up my needle and turned. And that way I had a neater, at least mitered looking corner on the inside. You don't have to do it that way. It just seems like a fun way to do it to me for this project. Now time for the yarn. I got this Barnett velvet yarn that was so soft to match how soft this fleece was. Now a tapestry needle is going to be your friend. It's a big eye and a blunt tip. So I picked up every third point on the zigzag. And so instead of having to go and crochet or do a blanket stitch around the edge, this became my base row. So I had a really long piece. In fact, it was still the whole thing. And I just pulled it until it was long enough to go all the way around the blanket. But the far end is still attached to the ball of yarn. I tied a knot at the corner just to help keep it stable so that it didn't slip around too much while I was working on the project and make it roughly in one place instead of the other. Then back to every third stitch. Now this yarn called for a 6.5 millimeter, but I used a 6 millimeter crochet hook. I just know how I crochet tension wise, and that seemed like it was probably going to be best for me. Time to single crochet all the way around. What is a single crochet? I'm so glad you asked. Let's talk about it. There is one loop there on my crochet hook. I'm going to go under from me and away. Go under that loop, yarn over, which is from right to left, over the top of the yarn. Pull through, I have 2. Yarn over, I have 3. Pull through 2. Wait, what? Let's try that again. Go through the stitch, yarn over, pull through 1, pull through 2. So that's a single crochet. You'll want to master a single crochet. You're going to use it all the time if you make anything. And then crochet, a single crochet all the way around the blanket. But when I got to each corner, I kind of gave it a little pull to make all that velvet yarn sit down tight. It didn't pull tight quite the way just a twisted yarn would. And then at the corner, if you just do one in each of your stitches, it's not going to be the shape you want. It's not going to lay down flat. It's one of those math kind of things. So at the corner, you have to put in some extra stitches. For this, I put in 3 extra stitches and then continued with my single crochet all the way around until I was all the way back to where I started. But see, without the extra ones, it wouldn't have laid down flat. Then time for double crochet. So let's take a look at what double crocheting really is. How do you double crochet? You have one loop on your hook and you yarn over and pick up one, go through both of those stitches that are the top edge. Now look, I have 1, 2, 3 stitches, 3 loops, yarn over back to front, and then I'm going to pull that through 2. Now I have 2, I'm going to pull through 2 and I'm back to 1. Do that again. Yarn over, go through. I went through both of those that were down there, so there's really 4 on there. Yarn over, go back through. Now I have 3. Yarn over, I have 4. Pull through 2, I have 2. Yarn over, there's 3. Pull through 2, back to 1. You might want to back that up and watch it again if you're studying on it. Anyway, then keep going to the corner. Same thing with this corner. You have to have more in order for it to lay down flat. So I put in 3 extras at the corner so that it would lay down flat and turn around and not stand up and curve up and make a horrible looking corner. So double crochet at the corner with 3 extra stitches. When I got to the corner, I added 1 more, and then the next stitch I added 2 instead of just 1, and then I kept going around. Little stretch, and there it is, a beautiful corner. One more thing I decided to do around, I wanted the edge to be kind of ruffly instead of just straight. This is single crochet and chain. So that was a chain right there. That's the chain. You go through, you pull 1, you go through, you pull 1. You only have 1 on there at a time. A single crochet. So I'm doing 3 single crochets. That was 1. This is 2. And then 3 single crochets. And then 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then a single crochet back in the same stitch that I started in for the chain. So that's 1, 2, 3 single crochets. Catch that one better. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 chain back into the same one. I didn't add anything extra at the corner because of the way this had gaps between it, so it was able to spread out. It didn't have to have extra little bumps to make it fit around the corner. And then I worked until I was all the way back around where I started. When you get to the end, you pull your loop through. Always cut over there on the tail side. I don't ever want to cut the wrong part. And then pull that through, and that locks in the stitches so that they'll stay. So now I'm doing a little double timing. If you hear the machine going in the background, that's because I'm a good Southern girl and I'm putting a monogram on this blanket, of course. But I also need to tie those ends so that they're not just dangling there, because that would just look ridiculous. So I work it through the crochet back to the tail from where I started, and then I tie them in a knot. People don't always tie them in a knot. I just feel better about it being tied in a knot because I know this is going to be washed. Then I run the yarn tail away from the knot, turn it 180 degrees, and come back. That puts a bite in it, which is a knot term, thank you very much, but it puts a bite in it so that it doesn't come out of there, and that keeps that tail end tucked away. And then the same thing with the other end from the beginning of the yarn. Pull it a little bit tight, and then when you cut it, you can pull it back in and it'll hide it up in there. And look at that! A beautiful monogram baby blanket. Thanks for joining me. I hope that's useful. I hope you learned a little bit about crocheting. Anyway, remember, hate stirs up strife, but love covers all offenses. See you next time.